Can you wave? Can you wave? Okay, shorties. First of all, I've got to do a few housekeeping rules. The first thing I'll say is that we have youngsters in the audience today, so please mind the language when you're up on stage, and even when you're not up on stage. You never know who's listening. And we've also got three viewers. Oh, one viewer on YouTube right now. Right, so hey to you. I don't know where the camera is. Hey to you. Okay, housekeeping rules. Toilets are located above on the ground floor. Yeah. Oh, on this floor as well. Oh, yeah, down the bottom. Sorry, in the bottom left-hand corner. The emergency exits, should there be a fire, are to my right and my left behind the stage. Please put your mobile phones on silent. It's very distracting, especially if someone's up here giving some kind of talk or report. Voting cards. Does everybody have a voting card? And the way I'm going to determine this is if everyone can put your voting card way up in the air right now. Is there anyone that's not doing that? There are some people not doing that. I'm looking at you right now. Cool. Wicked. Thank you, everybody. Can I remind people when you are up here talking, not to refer union staff members by their name. They have no right to defend themselves in this forum, so you cannot address a union staff member by their name. However, you can do that to an exec member who is up here reporting, so they will be able to defend themselves, okay? Just please keep that in mind. There will be an opportunity, so the agenda is in your booklets if you have one. Mine was given them around now. Sorry, for my first rule. That man right there is figuring out the agendas right now, so give them a read. There is an opportunity at the very end to give a statement or a notice, so if there's something that you feel the membership should address, and it's not been covered already, please take the opportunity to come up here on stage and address the membership and be recorded for the minutes. Okay? The next thing we need to do, statements of, any other business. If anyone has anything that they do want to say, please make it known to the waving down here with my bottom left, your top right, if there's anything you want to see covered on the agenda. The final thing we need to do is actually nominate a vice chair. So in the event that you think I'm not doing a good job, which is pie in mine, or I get up to deliver my report, someone actually needs to take over as the chair of this meeting to make sure everything's running smoothly. So can I see some candidates or applicants to be the vice chair? Nobody? One, I see one in the red jumper. If there's nobody else, can we all vote to accept Gavin as the vice chair by holding your voting cards way up in the air? Lovely, thank you. Gavin, you are the vice chair. Would you like to come up and sit next to me on stage?
Oh, God.
Yes. Give a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, thank you. We move on to the agenda. First one, welcome. I really want to say thank you for coming. First of all, this is a great opportunity for you guys to express your views on what we as exec officers or the student council as a whole have been doing for the last term, and also to have your say on some big ideas that we couldn't deliver it. Apologies for absence. There is no one from the executive committee. Everyone's here. And that all accept the agenda. And no one has any conflicts of interest that they want to declare with the agenda. If we can all raise our voting cards now to accept the order of the agenda. Nice, everyone's really good at this already, so that's good. So the minutes from the previous meeting, which was our annual meeting held last year, they are up on the website, I believe, on trentstudents.org/UM. So if somebody wants to read the minutes of the previous meeting, I can confirm on behalf of the union that they are an accurate record of what happened last year. But for the sake of the minutes, we actually have to approve the minutes from the previous meeting. So if everyone takes me for my word and raises your delegate card now to say that you approve the minutes from the last meeting, that would be great. You can't believe it. Thank you. We're getting all the boring stuff out of the way now, just so you know. Sorry. And there were no matters arising from the previous meeting. So, for exec officers, DPDS, if we can get the next item. So your officers are going to come up and give a report on what they've done for the last term. At the end of that report, you're going to get the opportunity to ask some questions. So if there's something that you didn't like, think that someone should be prioritising, you can make it clear to the officers now. But I wish that this isn't a chance to attack an officer. This is a chance for you to say, this is what I would have preferred. You're not using your time correctly in this manner. But no attacking of officers, please. I can remind people about the naming and shaming of union staff members. That's going to get up a bit of a report with me. So I now hand over to my trusty vice chair. So my report from the first term, I've been working on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 GPEs. The first one has been the general elections. So I guess enhance the knowledge of our students about what vote. For instance, did you guys know that you can actually improve your credit rating by just registering to vote? So if you go to get a front project or something, that can actually improve your score. No dots? You did? Okay, thank you, gentlemen. So that's one thing, we're trying to raise awareness of that. It's a great chance for us as students. Elections occurred, students were done over, in essence, fees, and the new government came in and suddenly fees rose to £9,000. So that should upset you. It upsets me on behalf of you. So this is a chance for you guys to have your say. So we're trying to publicise that. Website accessibility. I was having discussions with multitude of ways Trent University to try and really enhance what is available. Thirdly, there's a new Vice Chancellor. You may have heard about it at the university, and with the new Vice Chancellor comes a new strategic theme for the university, a new strategic direction. So this is essentially where the university wants to go over the course of the next 5 years. And what we have done as a union is get involved in that and try to approach yourselves, approach other social learning space. Is it digital resource and the ability to have exams digitally, fashion ways? are we trying to improve as a university and rise through the ranks and keep with the times instead of falling back on the old age university picture, which is 18th century sitting in the lecture hall? Is that the necessary thing? So we've been trying to engage with you guys on that. And thank you for your feedback if you've given some, because there's been about 3,000 students that have an awful lot of feedback that we've had. To do with Brackenhurst. I feel like Brackenhurst as a campus has been not disrespected, but they haven't had the same input from both the university and us as a union over the course of the last 5, 6, 7 years. However, we're sitting in a brand new facility here in the city, NTSU Union. Clifton campus has been redeveloped twice in 4 years in terms of student union facilities, and now I think it's time that we as a union invest in our facilities out in Brackenhurst, because I don't want those guys to feel unappreciated or anything like that. So we've been trying to engage with Brackenhurst students. There should be some designs of the facilities coming back for deliberation over the Christmas period into the first. 15 is a housing year to work towards and been unable to achieve for many reasons. Term 2 of this year, Trent, where everyone rushes into signing a contract for a house, and then a couple of weeks later, when they fall out with the people that they've signed a contract with, or they realise that that contract isn't for them, they don't know what to do, they become stuck. So what we are saying as a union is you can come right into this building, get your contracts checked by professional people. We're only allowing accommodation providers to come in this building that we recommend, so you know they're safe. So that's a great win for us as a union, and we are working on in collaboration with the university department. I have so many meetings that I have to attend on behalf of the union. That's filled up probably half of my calendar. There's a member of the audience that is sitting there nodding and laughing away, who knows what that feels like. And that's why I'm in the attire I am in today, so sorry I didn't dress down for you all. But yeah, my life is meetings at the moment, so that's me. Are there any questions for the President?
You mentioned about the 21st century research that the museum's doing. When do you reckon that's going to come about, and we'll know what the themes are of that? And is it going to be
We did 2 weeks ago. Brought together to deliver. I'm actually going to deliver it to the Vice Chancellor himself. Report delivered, and from then on, as the governor of the university board, it's also a key thing that the board of governors is looking to discuss, and I'll get the opportunity to also say everything that you guys have said in front of the board of governors who basically sign off on the strategic thing that the chancellor wants, vice chancellor wants to go down. So it's a real opportunity for us as a to the people that are expected to do. So anything you want to say in general already, point out. Any other questions? I will take my position back as chair. Okay, thank you everyone. The next next officer we have to deliver a report is Matthew Scrimshaw, your Vice President of Education. Let's welcome him to the stage. You have 3 minutes.
What I've got to really say is just one day I've done those as well. One of the main things that I dealt with this year is the academic rec system that includes course and school rec. School reps out of, which is a great achievement. This year, one silver or gold rating. This is to try and boost the employability of all employees when they go to. Was also decreased with the course reps. It's one thing that I wanted to do this year, and now my favourite thing. It's more interactive training, trying to give them the skills for. I also brought in a school, so a speaker for me, school came in, had like a 10-15 minute slot to show them how much they do value the course reps and the changes that they make. I also the new name of Academic Rep Assembly. I also changed the layout of it, so we try and engage, we put all the schools together in groups, and then they provide the feedback to us afterwards, and I facilitate it to try and see if there's any common things occurring in more than one school, or if there's any good practice that one could adopt in another. So also this year, as well. So they just come in and they monitor the standards and the quality of the university. Also dealt with the libraries. So 4/7 library, and now it's been taken off them. After discussions with them, it has increased time from first term. I'm in discussions with them for getting second and third term 24. Boots library, library map tool, to try and get to try and get my manifesto pushed through the system for also placing students in first years. Yeah, I've noticed that quite a lot of mature students, especially table speed. So discussions with timetabling team, trying to sort this out and trying to get my manifesto. So I'm trying to get them implemented for you guys at the end. Cheers, guys. That's me done.
Thank you, Matthew. Can I remind officers when they... Just a reminder. Has anybody got any questions for your VP Education?
Head of the library.
Has anyone got any questions for Matthew? Guys, this is an opportunity to say to your officers, why haven't you been doing X, Y, Z, or I'm glad that you've done X, Y, Z, okay? Please use it. Joe?
Hi, Matthew. Great report, by the way. Nice. You spoke about being on the employability board,
Yeah.
and you said that you presented.
It was based on my manifesto last year, so increased amount of guest speakers in the try and get it rolled out. On meeting the head of the employability body, he's quite keen to get it all done. So I'm meeting him in a few weeks again.
Thank you. Libby?
In terms of 24-hour library, I think Christmas is going to be a great help.
From last, it was only the principals bring it up as well. And it was brought up last year. The students and giving them this library over the summer as well.
Is it based on
No, Christmas isn't being taken into consideration.
Thank you. Any more questions for your Vice President of Education? No? Okay. Thank you. Oh, I can't see. He's in the way.
Sorry. Just one question. With the redevelopment of the library, there's a new law library section.
Yeah. It's like people a bit. You could just be segregated off. So,
Cover all the schools, because we have one to create that area. Because it's really hard sometimes working with undergrads. I've been involved in the past, so I need feedback from the relevant students actually prove that it isn't just me behind it. It's like,
No more questions for Matthew? Okay, thank you, Matthew.
cheers, guys.
I invite Jeremiah Anson to the stage, your Vice President of Services. I can remind everyone to please put your phones on silent, Mr. DP Education.
code of conduct as well, as we can't reach policy at the moment. We're working on representation as well. So with that, we've had all of our pool reps elected this year, which hasn't been the case in years prior. Does that answer your question? Thank you. Are there any other questions?
Yes, Alex in the middle.
Are you know my name? Can I ask you a question on the nights out in Nottingham?
Yes.
Ones that are sponsored or advertised by the union, so like
yes.
coaching, things like that. Is there anything in place for students to be able to choose different clubs? So
what's been sponsored?
Yes. So instead of going to Forum or Oceania one night, students prefer the university represents a club that is more in line with their liking, changing status, etc.
Well, we at the end of every year, like we have a contract with the clubs running for about a year or maybe 2 years. At the end of those contracts, we look at other clubs that also have events on those nights. If you join our entertainment committee, then you have the chance to put forward the clubs that you feel should be affiliated. So if that's something you want to do moving forward for next year, then get yourself down to one of the entertainment committee forum meetings and put forward what kind of clubs you'd like to see endorsed. Okay?
Thank you.
Cool. Question at the back? Is there a question at the back? No? Okay.
Any more questions for Jeremiah? Anything to do with Freshers Week events or halls? No. Lovely, okay. No question. Okay, thank you, Jeremiah.
Thank you, guys. Wonderful.
In decision on behalf of the exec officers on the front. We now move on to Lizzie Kelly, your Vice President of Activities. A few claps for Lizzie. Yeah! Whooping will not be tolerated. 3 minutes.
Okay, so I've worked on a range of different things and started with that. I've been working really closely with the committee again this year, and they've got some great events so far. They recently did a face-painting event, which loads of the OC journalists went to, and helped to raise over £300 for bad dogs. That later. So yeah, that's going really well, and there's loads of big scale events that I'm working towards. So I'm taking the ladies back, we're going to start doing rag race, and I'm working with sports clubs and societies at the minute, and I'm working with Trent on their University Pole Stars competition, so that'll be back next year. I'm also working mainly with Brackenhurst this year for our November campaign. They've been putting on different events across the month, and in the next few days they've got a netball tournament. We've got loads of different teams involved, and there's 6 different teams with 10 players each, and they're looking to raise about £240 in November, so they're doing really well as well. Societies, I've been helping societies to utilise the space within the SU, which is something that's on the manifesto for. So Funky Fresh, I'm going to be holding a big event and go home again this year. We're working to make that a little bit smoother. We're also looking at club sports. They're going to hold 2 different events this year, varsity darts, and we're looking at another big event as well. And Hindu Society will be holding their Sharma event, hopefully back in the student union, with discussions with them as well. But also seeing loads of societies actually going ahead and booking spaces within the SU without any prompting, using it for training, committee meetings, and smaller scale events that they put on, which is really nice to see. I'm also hoping to improve communications between societies, myself and others within the union. There's been some issues with communication about the by-elections, so I'm working with individual societies to hopefully improve that, and I'm going to talk to the wider society membership to see how we can improve this for the big elections that will come on in March. Give It a Go Week. So Give It a Go Week is basically Refreshers Week. It was rebranded last year, so it gave it a bit more oomph. It's basically a chance for the new starters and anyone who missed out in first term to basically have a go in terms of getting involved in society, getting involved in sports, and just general events that are around the union. So we're looking to make that bigger and better again this year. We've got the coffee room that will be back in the Go week, so keep an eye out on the website and sign up for that. We have a mass game day in which the Gaming Society will be putting on those events and warm-ups. And then we've got a food fest, so we're encouraging loads of cultural societies to get involved in that. And then we give it a go fair with, as Mark has already said, that will include the housing fair this year. So yeah, lots to do.
Thank you, Lizzie. Oh yeah, has anybody got any questions for Lizzie? Yep, Sean.
So I need to have a violation, you know. You have a violation, and I was spoken to society's coordinator about this. Is there absolutely nothing you can do now if they're doing reruns, rewriting forms, they're being rerun again, so we have positions that won't fill? Is there anything we can do for Mark, or do we just sort of wait? It's out of our hands and see.
No, if you come and speak to me specifically, we can look into what you can do if there are still issues and if there's been miscommunication that you actually all specifically. Yeah, come and talk to myself and take you over to Democracy Corner to go there. And we can look into how we can help you out in terms of potentially sorting out committee membership and rerunning if that's what we have to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte. Any more questions for Lizzie? We'll go here at the front.
When is Give It a Go week?
For anyone who doesn't know, Give It a Go week is the first week back, so first week of term in January.
Thank you for that question. Any more questions to do with societies, fundraising, anything of that nature? I see that member there.
Hello. You spoke about the coffee room.
Yes.
Will we get to see Trent?
I'm not allowed to say that yet, but we are talking to guidance and seeing if there's a possibility that we'll be able to bring something in depending on how far some of this training is going and how well it's doing and that sort of thing. Oh, sorry. Okay, so last year, so if you look by the way here last year, Trent students raised over £5,000 for guide dogs, which meant that we got to name our own puppy. So there is a puppy out there that's called Trent, and it has been born, and we've got loads of information about it, so if anyone wants to know, just give me an email. And hopefully we'll be bringing him to you next year, so you can all see the good work that he's doing, and we're raising money for the guide dogs again this year, so that hopefully we can support Trent throughout his life as a guide dog.
Thank you for that clarification, Lizzie. Is there any more questions? Okay, you can carry on with that. Thank you, Lizzie. Next up is Joshua, your Vice President of Community. Give my hand. Give my hand. A man on a horse and a bus.
Hi everyone, I'm Josh, your VP Community. For anyone who's interested, our one viewer on the screen is my mother, so she's the only person watching on YouTube right now, which is wonderful. Oh, 6 people, wonderful, so my entire family's actually on the screen. Yeah, so first off, welfare this year. This term I've been working really hard on 3 campaigns in relation to welfare. So firstly, mental health. If you guys didn't know, Katie Wright put out a mental health report last year.
Can I remind the exec officers not to name? But she's an ex-exec officer, so that's not acceptable.
Last year, the other me, the last VP Community, the last VP Community did a mental health report. I then followed this up this year. I'm actually taking that report to the university this year, so we can actually have some positive change on that. I'm going to be presenting that to them on December the 10th, so that we can identify issues with mental health and see how we can further support students at the university. Secondly, I've actually started a drinking campaign based around responsible drinking at Trent, so that you guys don't go too crazy in the ocean and don't mess up your exams and your life and all that sort of stuff. So that's going really well. That's pretty awesome. So hopefully I've got some more stuff to present to you guys next term. Finally, myself and the information and advice service that we have here in Nottingham Trent Students Union have running a Don't Let Yet campaign to help you guys out in relation to bad landlords and making sure that you guys are all nice and happy and fun and friendship and all that jazz with your landlords and stuff. So that's really cool. On top of that, we've actually been running a rate your landlord. We'll be looking at running sort of like a TripAdvisor style website for landlords. So basically, you guys can go online, rate your landlords, and let other students know about bad landlords or any good landlords that you might have. So I've been looking into that this term, and that's been going really well as well, along with the council and the university. So that has actually part of the community also. Something else I've been looking to do for the past 2 years, I was actually a fresherette at the Maltese Halls of Residence. For those of you who don't know, there's been a Maltese Meridian Fly issue going on right now, which was a bus that we reportedly had some issues with over the last couple of years. We ran a referendum run by me and the members of the Students' Union to kind of see if we could fix this issue, and the students voted for a free bus pass. So instead of the flyer, which reportedly had problems, we've now managed to get a student win where they can give them a free bus pass instead, which is absolutely fantastic. And then finally, volunteering this year. For those of you who don't know, we have a brand new volunteering coordinator this year. Volunteering has been completely redone this year. We've got a ton of new stuff that we're looking at doing. We've got a ton of brand new volunteering opportunities. We've also been able to expand from our previous one-day projects into international volunteering, long-term volunteering projects, and specifically some really good volunteering projects with the guide dogs, which has been absolutely fantastic. We've also been looking at green volunteering projects. So the big one that I've been looking at and been taking a lead on along with our volunteering coordinator is Food Share, which is on the Clifton campus. Basically, lots of students are growing their own food over at Herald Halls of Residence, which is absolutely fantastic. So we're going to be looking to give about half of that away to the local community, and the rest they're going to be cooking for you guys, I hope. So that'll be absolutely wonderful. But yeah, that's what I've been up to this term, amongst sorting out the different issues that you guys have. So yeah, any questions? Cool.
Thank you, Josh. I see this member here on the second row.
I think there's a big feedback people constantly to what I'm saying. And there's a lot of news about certain bars being breathalyzers. And obviously students are really strongly against that. They don't want that money, etc. So I just wondered, is that something we're looking at here? Is that something we should be worried about?
This is actually quite a new story. It's only just broken. I've only just heard about it over the last couple of days. So I haven't really had a chance to kind of create or rather go out and speak to students about what they think about it. Obviously, we've heard from the member of the audience that heard the news, but I'd really like to go out and speak to you guys about it and figure out how you guys feel about that on kind of a broader scale. Because it's so new, I actually haven't had a chance to look into it too much, but rest assured I will do.
Thank you. On the front row.
What is the Don't Let Yet campaign?
The Don't Let Yet campaign is a campaign which I'm running with the Information Advice Service, so just upstairs in the Students' Union, and it's based around students not letting or getting into housing too quickly. We are in a very unique situation in Nottingham in that there are more student beds in student houses than there are actual students in the city. So when landlords come to you and they say, oh, you need to get into your house really quickly, you're going to lose out on all really good houses. That's absolutely not the case. That's completely incorrect. So we really want to push it out there to students and completely change the culture around housing and say that it's actually okay to wait as long as you want to find the perfect house for you and the perfect house next to you. So that's kind of what we're aiming to do this year.
So when should we be looking for our accommodation?
There is no predefined time, but I would definitely suggest waiting until after Christmas and waiting until you know exactly who you want to live with. I mean, no one wants to get into a house with people that they find out they don't quite like as much as they would think that they have before Christmas. So I'd say wait until January, February time. There are more than enough good houses out there for you guys. So it's about finding the right one and about finding a landlord who takes you seriously and doesn't try and take as much money as possible, really.
That sounds like a great campaign.
Thank you for those comments and questions. Are there any more questions for Jeremiah? Sorry, Josh. Sorry, in the middle.
And there's been any progress on the buses with the hundred scrapping cuts because it's getting incredibly busy and it's something that's come up over and over again in terms of getting double-decker buses from scrapping cuts.
I've actually been working with Nottingham City Transport this term to help put on more buses to the number 4 to go to the Clifton campus. This is actually the first time I've heard of the number 100 issue, so I apologise, I haven't heard of that so far. If that's something you'd like me to look into, then you can come see me and we can talk more about it. But I have also put on more help to put on some more buses for students to get them to Clifton on time for 9 AM lectures. So if that's something that's really important for you guys, then definitely I'd like to look into that.
Thank you.
Thank you. On the front row.
Is David at the community background?
Yes, definitely. I mean, we've been looking at running it certainly in its early stages here in the city campus and a little bit in Clifton. But I could definitely speak to the information by service and see if we can get some stuff going on over there, and that would be fantastic.
Yeah. Any more questions for Josh? I see that number there with the red greenie hat.
Hi Josh, I've got 2 questions for you, maybe 3. First of all, underrepresented groups come under UNAT, is that right?
That is correct.
What's going on with them?
The underrepresented groups, they have their own forums and their own issues. I've certainly been working with some of them. Gavin, Joan Verity, I've been working with, we've been looking into initiatives on gender neutral toilets. We've been looking firstly at, absolutely right here. So I've certainly been working with Gavin Dandrew, who is our mature students officer. He's already given his apologies for tonight. We've been working on getting more ways for mature students to be involved in the students' union. That's been going absolutely fantastically. We've got a really great core group of students rather, mature students who are always in the students' union. It's absolutely fantastic to see them getting involved. So we've been looking into issues where mature students haven't felt as engaged as your traditional student. So that's been absolutely brilliant, and we're looking to roll in some form of kind of mature students buddying system for next stretches. So that's another thing that we're doing. Other than that, I will leave that up to the international students officers, the other underrepresented officers, for them to tell you exactly what they've been up to. But those are the biggest 2 things that I've been doing with underrepresented groups so far.
Cool, thank you. You touched on my second question there. In your manifesto, you were lobbying for gender neutral toilets. Can you just update us where that's at?
Yeah, so gender neutral toilets is something that we discussed in our executive committee meeting, and I personally think it's a very good idea. We actually came to the decision in the meeting that it's something that we were looking to follow through policy that we were going to create based around safe space in the students' union. So we are, myself and Gavin are going to look into it and see if it's a real possibility to put it in the students' union somewhere, or if it's even possible, if it's what Trent as an entirety do want. So it's really for us to work on in the coming months and to report back to you.
Does that answer your question? Any more questions? See that over there.
What is it gender neutral toilet?
In the students' union, we have male and female. Gender neutral toilet is a toilet for those who don't identify as having a gender. So certainly when I was campaigning, I ran into some students who identified as trans students. So students who didn't identify with male or female, and they said that when sometimes they went to the toilet, they didn't feel like they had a place to go because obviously as male and female, and they didn't feel like they fitted into either of those categories. Therefore, they kind of felt marginalised on campus. So it was something that I've looked into, that me and Gavin are certainly looking into. Also, some people have said, oh, why do trans students not use the disabled toilets? That is actually because it's not good to kind of identify trans students as disabled, because that's not how they identify themselves as. So that's the reason for gender neutral toilets, and that's what they are.
Thank you, good question. Any more? Yeah, in the third row.
It's not a question, I just wanted to clarify that trans students are students of colours, women or female, women or men, but people who don't identify with the gender they were assigned at.
My apologies, sorry.
Thank you for the clarification. Are there any more comments or questions for Josh? Everyone happy? Lovely, thank you, Josh. And finally, we have your Vice President of Sport, Patrick Atkinson, aka Paddy Atkinson. You have 3 minutes.
Hello everybody. Just going through my report. First of all, varsity, the series is looking to be condensed down between 27th of April and the 8th of May. I've been working with NTSU Union, NTSU Sport and Union of Nottingham Sports to agree the aims and objectives of varsity this year. The agreed main aim is to showcase the sporting talent of our student athletes to the student population. So with this in mind, we aim to, where possible, make the fixtures and the venues as big as possible on the grandest scale, so that people can get out and watch them sporting, and at the end of the day raise money for charity. Last year we raised over £10,000 for David Home's Legacy Trust, which is for underprivileged athletes, so that's a really good cause. So on tour, I've been negotiating contracts with Outgoing Limited, also the Sports Fest, with regards to trips as well as tours, and this particular company was selected due to the highest duty of care for students. I will never talk about this. Club committee training, one of my key manifesto points when campaigning was to improve committee training. I'm delivering democracy and governance training in sports clubs at the beginning of term 2, which enable committees to better represent their members, and also kind of know more about these forums and know about their AGMs, how to elect in their committees. With sports club sponsorship, I'm working closely with NTSU Sport to simplify the contracts, make it easier to understand for VP events or sponsorship secretaries. And we've also agreed to take out any minimum spend on contracts, which has definitely alleviated any pressure onto social sects this year, because then you don't actually have to go out and acquire minimum numbers, and you're not actually encouraging your members to go out and get pissed on Wednesday night, basically. So it's also beneficial to members that don't actually particularly drink and make it a little bit more inclusive. So with I've been agreeing memorandum of understanding with NTSU Sport, which is basically outlines the relationship between NTU and the student union with regards to sport. The document outlines the roles of both organisations, and I've been lobbying to ensure that sports clubs stay student-led, particularly performance clubs. That was one that was a little bit more tough, so I've been really lobbying to ensure that that all sports clubs are student-led, and you guys are leading your sports clubs. On Soup Kitchen projects, some of you guys may know about, we've been playing on Wednesday, working with NTU Sports Science as well as NTU Sports to look into delivering a healthier option on Wednesday after games. We've been involving 3 sports and nutrition students who have been using as their dissertation, and we've got really great verbal feedback from the students. We had a couple of Wednesdays ago, we had over 40 students fed in one afternoon, and I've got really good positive verbal feedback, and it'd be good to hear what other feedback comes from, and we're also looking to make it more sustainable for the future. Cool, that's me done.
Thank you, Paddy. Do we have any questions for your Vice President of Sport? On the 4th row. I'm good at maths.
Hi, Patrick. I know that you said about being working with the.
So can you hold the microphone closer to your mouth?
All right, sorry. I know that you said that you've been working with Union of Sports. Is there any possibility that you could talk to them about maybe having more communication between if sports clubs holding us and Trent are similar to Union of Sports? Do they not have sessions with each other? Because there's the most complications if there's for instance, Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, we have good communication with North Jiu-Jitsu, and we'd love to like do training with them just to help us and they can help us as well.
Over last year in office and this year as well, I'm working to build relationships with them. And although it's not on my remit necessarily, I am happy to empower you guys into meeting, making those links and making those communications yourselves, which I think is really important. So if you want to drop me an email or something and we talk about how we can potentially bring you some more support, that's fine.
Thank you. Email addresses can be found in your booklets, just FYI. Is there any more questions for the Vice President of Sport on the second row? Cheers, Frank. So you're looking at improving committee training. I'm assuming that's involving committee handovers as well. And if so, what is actually being done to improve committee handovers, and more specifically for committee members that have been elected that may not actually be in the country, that may be on placement somewhere?
It's definitely something worth reviewing. I'm happy to discuss that with you at another point if you fancy. I do think it's an important thing, especially handover. There have been some committees this year that have given a really poor handover, and I've been working with a couple of them that have notified me about that, about how we can best communicate things and ensure that we're still getting the knowledge. I think training can always be improved at the end of the day. One of the reasons why I'm delivering the training session in term 2 is to ensure that all things are there, and also your AGMs are going to be during term 2 in your elections, so you guys have a little bit more fresh in your mind of your knowledge in terms of democracy and representation, that sort of thing. Does that come answer the question? Yeah. Okay.
Thank you. On the front row, in the middle.
I keep hearing conflicting things on different committee members. So can you re-explain to me the redistribution of motion boxes? Is it because clubs that aren't sports teams are books and stuff like that? Could you repeat that? The last bit. Is it because there are more clubs that aren't sports teams allocate books as well?
Basically, towards the end of last year, I've been actioned by last year's sporting tech to come up with a new procedure for OSHA tickets, because at the minute, before this year, there had never been an official procedure. I've emailed out the procedure. I'm not going to try and go through it off the top of my head, but I'm happy to send it to you again if you want. But it basically ensures that sports clubs that have more than one book allocated, or if they get a book out, they're accountable to ensure they actually sell those tickets. Whereas previously they haven't been. There've been clubs that have allocated 3 books but only sell 20 tickets every week. When at the end of the day, you should be able to sell every one of those tickets. And I think sports clubs should be more accountable to that. Because at the end of the day, if you're taking out 2 books, or you take out a book and you're not selling them, you're kind of other sports clubs are missing out on that because of that. So that's one of the reasons why those actions were taken. Okay. You know, on the spreadsheet we've got set on the financial section, there's a lot of clubs that have books taken away. I can see many clubs that have books added to construct that. That's because there are, during term 1 after the big idea, there are 65 books that are allocated to sports clubs and societies, and there are 70 societies and 57 sports clubs. So already there's much higher number of people demand for books than there are actually books available. Sorry, I'm shuffling up on the card. So that's why there haven't been more allocated, because there have been so many complaints at the start of last year and the start of this year. There just aren't enough books available, and people think that even though they can reserve, even though they've got the right to reserve a book, it doesn't mean necessarily you're going to be able to get it every single week. Does that make sense?
Okay, just got it. Thank you. There's a question on the back left row. Let's look at it. Second to last row.
Cold. Someone turn the heating up, please.
With varsity being towards the end of the year, do you not think this affects like further students who have got to work, or around exam period? I personally might be like not going to school, but if they're around that time,
it does seem to kind of shoot out and deadlines.
Definitely. In last year and previous years, football and rugby union have usually been during exam time due to the availability of the venues. This year we're aiming to do it before the 8th of May, which is before exams even start. Hopefully as well with people with deadlines and things like that, it allows you to take an evening out of your day to go and do something a little bit more productive than just sitting in front of the telly. And you know, watching UK sport is definitely up there with one of the best things to do while you're not studying. So yeah.
Thank you.
In the middle. Fine. I'll continue. Hi, on return to ocean tickets. You said you require clubs to sell the tickets they take from the union. If a club is going to take a lot of books, doesn't this mean they might sell them to other union, like other societies at a higher price, thus creating some sort of black market? Because if you reduce that, like it just sort of, obviously it sounds silly and everything like that, but if you take away, if someone buys one books, one society, and sells to all the others because they're so few books at a higher price, doesn't that cause problems for those societies? Because I know an ocean ticket should cost £4, but I've seen people buying for like £8, £9, £10 because there are no books left.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's something that's hard to tackle. One of the things discussing with membership services is to come up with an ocean ticket steering group, because it seems to be one of the things that it's a pretty hot topic, especially in sports clubs as well as that come up with big ideas. So we're looking to do that, to kind of give everyone in that group knowledge of everything around ocean tickets and all the stakeholders involved, and how we can better allocate or regulate ocean tickets as a whole. So hopefully that'll be going in eternity.
That's the question. Lovely. And then finally on the far left,
we want to know if there'll be advancing like season ticket again. A few years ago, like was a big event. So if you want to go to all the events in those 2 weeks, would you do a ticket that has say like 5 themes or whatever? You can just take that one ticket and go to say basketball, rugby, football, all of those.
Definitely. Last year it was on the VP Sports at Union North, and Union North as a whole didn't want to do season tickets because of how we can financially monitor each individual event, because obviously a season ticket covers every single event, so it's hard to monitor how much income and expenditure is coming from each individual event. This year we want to bring back season ticket on. I've got mine of a wristband, something like that, and then especially with condensing the series, it should hopefully go much bigger further and much more sales on season tickets for whole.
Yeah.
lovely. Is there any more questions for Paddy? One more in the middle, at the back.
Something that's been coming to attention is the fact that the sports membership is conflicting with some of the sports clubs, because of that, even though it's an annual thing of £99 each year, when people turn up in the sports club, they find out that either they have to pay for extra equipment for that club out of their pockets and have the membership on top, or maybe even add extra insurance from other organisations that are helping us to support that club. And then some people are finding that it's just too much money. So I don't know if there's any possibility of maybe making it a bit cheaper. I don't know.
Yeah, although it wasn't in my report, I've been working with NTSU Sport to review membership, because it's quite hard to communicate, because subs, for those who don't know, subs are basically, you pay that as part of your membership to that club, and that income goes straight into the club account, whereas membership goes into the overall NTSU Sport membership. So we're kind of unsure in a way to better communicate that, but hopefully that should be done within fresh affairs and within committees and clubs as a whole should be telling their members it's £100 for the membership plus £40 for your club service. So, we're definitely reviewing how to better do that, but and especially with whether clubs are actually using the facilities or not to review potentially a separate membership.
Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any more questions for Paddy? One at the top right. Did you look at it? This will have to be the final question.
Hi. Yeah, so I'm on one of the smaller sports clubs, and we're not really too happy with the sports thing. And we're just wondering like why we're specifically going with them when there's other ones that involve more universities.
As the overall body, discussing on sports exec and with clubs, the general consensus has been, let's go with sports fest again. They are our recommended provider, but that doesn't mean necessarily that every single sports club has to go with them. They're just our recommended provider. So if you as a club would like to go somewhere else, then that's completely up to you. And if you want to feed in any ideas in terms of why you're happy, I'm more than happy to come meet you and discuss that. And so we can communicate that to Sports Fest, so we can remediate that for this year. Yeah.
Cool, thanks.
Thank you. Okay, thank you to Paddy for his report. If anybody has any more questions or comments to make, please go and see Paddy, but I'm conscious of the time, so we're going to move things along. Okay, so well done, Paddy. Okay, now we're going to move on to the finances. So what I'm about to do is tell you how we're doing generally, how we did last year, and then hopefully you guys will stick up your little green cards and say that you're happy for us to approve these as an accurate record of the finances at the moment. So last year we actually made a surplus of £322,000 and 37. Oh, sorry, and £37 excuse me. So this has increased our reserves from £1.13 million to £1.45 million. So we have a lot of money in the bank, but there's a couple of reasons for this. One being we actually keep a reserves policy so that in the event of something going wrong within the union, we can operate for 3 months, and that's around £700,000 sitting in the bank at any one time. So that's a kind of a fail-safe. Currently, our financial situation is great in this year. We have a surplus of £154,000 in October, and that's £2,000 favourable to the budget that we set ourselves, so the target. And the year to date, at the moment, we are £153,000 well off, and that's £147,000 ahead of the budget. So we are doing very, very well. We made a lot of money, basically because of Freshers Week, the training activity that they do there, or the events that you guys go to. Because this year, as Jeremiah covered, I believe in his report, we actually had a schedule for return students this year, so it wasn't just freshers. They've got a whole schedule this year, a wristband and all the rest of it. There was something for return students as well, so we made sure that everyone had a welcome back to Nottingham Trent. So hopefully you guys are involved with that, because it was a great week. But that is the finances as it sits. If everyone is happy to accept, has anyone got any questions on the finances? No, lovely. If everyone will stick up their little green card to accept these as an accurate record of the current financial state, that would be great. Thank you. Are we happy, DPD? Lovely. Thank you. You can put them down. Nice and quick. Okay, what we're going to do, Matthew is going to come to the stage. He briefly touched on this in his report. He's going to explain to you what the Q&A submission is. Now you should be really excited because it's really, really fun. He's going to make it as interesting as he can. But I'll hand over to Matthew.
Hi again, guys. I'll keep it short and sweet. Basically, the QAA is the Quality Assurance Agency, and it's basically the equivalent of an Ofsted for a university. If you want to read it, to see if there's anything you want to add or if there's anything you don't agree with, it can be found online. That's the URL if you want to take that down. There's this document, it's only about 30 pages long, which is nothing because the university is 189 pages long and I have to read the whole thing. So it was quite an interesting read, but it's like a lot shorter. It's basically what it's like to be a student here at Nottingham Trent University. To do this, I've had to head it, and the student voice team have been able to write it alongside me. Basically, we took information from NSS, which is the National Student Survey, taking it back from feedback weeks from previous education officers, data, course committee meeting minutes, and stuff like that. The main point to summarise that the significant changes with the relationship between NTU and NTSU. It's a lot more positive than a few years ago. We're now invited to a lot more decision-making boards and bodies. One thing we want is more representatives on the ones that put the policies together, so we actually have a say when the policies are being put and constructed. There's also one of the big things we pointed out is there's a lot of inconsistency across this institution. So there's things about assessment feedback. That was one of the main things that was addressed on the last audit, which was 4 years ago. So the university has made great advances in assessment feedback, but we understand there's still a lot more work for them to do, but they are above average on the National Student Survey. But there was a lot of positives as well. One thing that was said that a lot of students say that the courses are a lot more challenging, but one thing that is methods and how they assess is one big issue. So some methods are applied unevenly across the schools. There's a big thing on group work. So some schools rely heavily on group work, whereas some don't. Some also over-rely on other methods as well. Some have said they've never done group work in their life at NTU. Also, the thing that the institution chose was employability and how that's embedded through the curriculum. So one thing I said is that there's a lot of great things that universities do, such as placements, lots of volunteering schemes that boost the employability. But then there's a lot of things that the university just put on to fill that void, which is one thing is the main thing to address. Some modules need work still based on employability, and that's one thing we said. We've now finalised the report and sent it off. As I said, if you guys want to read it, it's URL there. If you want to message me privately, as I said, my email is in there on the guides, and just tell me if there's anything you want to add and anything you want to take out, because in February they will call their what? But basically in February they will come back, they will come to our institution and they will want to meet students and course representatives and school representatives. So they'll come, they'll do their final, they'll look at all the things what the university is doing and what was said, and then they'll finally give us a report in about I think April, May time with all the recommendations for the university until the next audit as well. So that's briefly just it. I know it's not the most exciting topic, but it's something that I've had to head this year. It's been challenging for us, student voice. And if there's any questions, then I can just give you some answers to them.
Thank you, Matthew. Is there any questions or comments based on what Matthew's just said? So everyone's happy with, they know what the QAA is, and they think Matthew's done a lot of work.
Joe, what is it? Attacking the education officers of the past. Okay, come on.
Okay, so what we, so yeah, as Matthew said, you have the opportunity to actually read it yourselves if you want to. All of the executive officers had to read it over the weekend, which is great fun. But we actually formally need to approve this as something that we as an exec can send off to the agency as a documentation of what students at Nottingham Trent think. So if you are happy with what Matthew said, and you think that this is going to be an accurate record and view of what you think, then what we'd like you to do is raise your lovely green cards. Am I right, DPD? I am right? Yes. If you're happy to accept what Matthew's done alongside the union staff members, please raise your lovely green cards now.
Cheers, guys.
Lovely.
That's what you've done. Cheers, guys.
Is there anyone that doesn't think that he's done the right thing? Anyone want to raise their card for that? No? Everyone's happy? Lovely. Okay. Thank you, Matthew.
Cheers, guys.
Okay, moving on to policy labs. So what I'd like to do is invite Jeremiah to the stage first. So what we need to do quickly is just address some policies that have actually basically gone past the sell-by date, for lack of a better term. They're out of date. So what we need to do as an executive team is come to you guys and say this is the policy as we've updated it. And if you're happy to approve it as the Vice President of Work and mentioned now, then we can implement this into policy from today. Okay, so I hand over to Jeremiah for fresher reps.
Hello again. Oh, sorry, a bit loud. Is everyone still alive? Can we have a wave from everyone in the crowd? Cool. Okay. Just a few changes to start. Okay. Well, I've changed on the fresh rep recruitment. This council will notice that I've changed it from there are limited space for fresh reps due to the cost of t-shirts, amount of work needed, and for organisational reasons to fresh rep numbers for the upcoming year are dependent on feedback from the year prior. And that basically means we decide how many reps we put in each hall on the feedback that we get from the reps in the year previous. So this year we had only 14 reps at Glasshouse for 400 freshers. So next year we'll be putting more reps in Glasshouse due to that feedback. Okay? So that's why that's changed from that to that. The numbers are not dependent on how many t-shirts we can get for you. As Marcus said in the financial report, we have the money to get the t-shirts. Okay. I have changed from the this council instructs the recruitment of the fresher reps as follows section. I've changed student staff shall not be permitted to fresher rep without the prior agreement of the line manager in conjunction with the student services offer to student staff shall not be permitted to fresher rep. So student staff are no longer allowed to fresher rep. Okay. The next change from the same section. That just states that 3 executive officers need to be present at the fresher rep interviews. That's now gone down to 2, as the exec officers are very busy and it's harder to get 3 into the interview, so now it's only 2, which means we can get more interviews done as well, which is good for you guys. Yay? Yay, good, yeah. Okay, another change. The job description of a fresher rep is to encourage freshers to attend NTSU events within Freshers Week and to act as a custodian offering knowledge and reassurance. The word all in there was in there before, as before the fresher reps were expected to try and get freshers to all the NTSU events that we hold and NTU events we hold. I've taken all out as everyone has different preferences, so it's not really fair to expect the reps to try and get the freshers to every event that we put on. So the word all has been removed from there. Cool. You guys all look very interested in what I'm saying right now. And finally, I've changed training for fresh reps should include sessions on alcohol and substance misuse mental health and inclusivity awareness, as I've added the mental health and inclusivity awareness, so that we're basically giving our fresher reps the best chance to understand all the different kinds of freshers that we have at the university. Okay, and that's all. Those are the changes. Have we got any questions?
Thank you, Jeremiah. Is there any questions from Gary?
No.
You mentioned inclusivity awareness. Does that include pronoun training for freshers?
You say that a bit louder, please.
Does that include pronoun training for freshers? What would you say?
Yeah, Gavin's bringing up a point that we discussed in Student Council, and the reason that has been put in there is because of what we discussed at Student Council. So yes, that will be put on the training. I will be working with yourself, myself or the new VP Services will be working with you to make sure that that's put in the training so all the reps are aware. Cool. Any other questions? At the front.
You mentioned about having 2 exec members on the panel. I've not seen the policy, so excuse me if this is a stupid question. Is it stated current exec or incoming, or is it just left open?
No, it's left open to current and incoming. But from my own experience, I realised that last year we struggled to get 3 exec members there, so to make it easier, I made it 2. So current or incoming.
So another question. It's been historic that sports members have sometimes found it difficult to fresher up in terms of conflicting timetables. As club members mentioned at all in the policy.
It actually isn't. It's not.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
That's fine. Thanks.
A question on the row.
You mentioned the amendments to the pressure up training. So does that mean that the recruitment process is going to be different? Because you can't teach someone who doesn't want to listen. For example, pronoun training. If someone doesn't want to accept that other people refer to me, they prefer to identify with a certain pronoun. If someone can't really listen to that, you know, what are you going to do with the recruitment to make sure that they're going to abide by that training?
Well, all the reps that we recruit, we hope, are susceptible to the training that we provide. We haven't provided pronoun training in the past. By providing it this year, we hope that will raise awareness of the issues with the pronouns, and by that, hopefully get them to abide by that. This year, we introduced the first reps. People weren't aware of them before, and weren't aware of the autistic spectrum. But by putting that into the training, we make people more aware, and that helps them. Okay?
Thank you very much.
Cool. Any more questions or comments on the pressure policy? So, if you are happy to accept it as a brand new policy, please raise your lovely little cards nice and high in the air. Who can get them the highest? Who's the highest? Who's the highest? You're the highest! Yeah! Thank you. Oh, we need to count. Okay, so can you keep them in the air? Keep them the highest. Get them the highest. Oh, they're not too low. Oh, too high. Yes. Keep them high. Keep them high. Always good. Keep them high. Thank you. You can drop them. Is there anyone that does not want to accept this as policy? Please raise your little green cards now. Keep them in the air. Thank you. Is there anyone who wants to abstain from this vote? If you don't want to have your vote counted, keep them in the air. Thank you. Can I invite your VP Sports back to the stage.
We're trying to make this quick to make it too cold again. So after looking into this, we were made aware of it last week, and after looking into this,
So, Paddy, can you just introduce what this is?
so this is the initiations policy, which some people might know as welcome events forms, that sort of thing. So after looking into it, we as an exec team have agreed to do a little bit more research into this before writing a new policy. Fox have a very firm stance on this, and as an institution that doesn't take into account an initiations policy is not actually eligible in Bucks, and we've been using the one that we've had this year and last year as our initiation policy. So I'll be looking to consult students, NTSU Bucks, NUS when reviewing, and hopefully be accepted in term 2. But I propose that we extend our current initiation policy to the next union meeting and vote the new one in next time, if that makes sense.
Are there any questions or comments before we take a vote?
What kind of stuff are you looking to alter before, like, before you actually change that stuff?
That's exactly it, because we need to do a little more research into it. So more particularly into inclusivity and people like that's not necessarily as covered in initiations, because our initiation policy at the minute is on initiation ceremonies and detailing that completely. As opposed to being inclusive of union and sports clubs and societies and groups of students as a whole, which I think actually more rather than just initiation ceremonies.
Thank you. Any more questions or comments? Okay, so what we'd like to do is, if you are happy to extend this policy until Paddy brings it back to the next general meeting, can you please raise your cards? Oh yeah! Pop them! Pop them! No, don't pop them for the count, sorry. Keep them in the air, keep them in the air, keep them in the air. One on the stage, Tom. Thank you. Good job. Is there anyone who does not want to extend this out? Please raise your cards now. Anyone who wants to abstain from this vote? Just keep your cards in here. Lovely, okay, thank you very much, everybody. Can we give ourselves a round of applause? You're doing so well right now. Well done. We're coming on to the final segments, home stretch. So what we're going to do is get onto the juicy bit, the big ideas. So this is where your votes really count, so please listen to what's been said. If you have a view on it, stick your hand up and I'll invite you up to express your view to the membership. So we've got an example. So the big idea is to provide a copy room to help de-stress students during exam or assessment time. Okay. So if there was someone who had a view on this, I would say, who has a view on this? Someone will stick their hand up. I would pick one of these three lovely. Yeah. They would come and talk to you for 2 minutes about why they think this is a good idea and why it should be implemented. Okay. What I'll then do is ask them to get off the stage, and then ask for someone who wants to speak against this, someone who doesn't think that having a room full of publics is a good idea. Okay. Very brave person to say that. But that person would then come up to the stage, again have a 2-minute open window in which to express their view as to why they don't think this idea should be voted on. We'll thank them for their time, and again we'll open it up to more for and against if there are any, and then we'll have a vote. So is everyone happy with the process, running order? Everyone gets what I'm saying? So we're going to give one child on quickly. For everyone that wants to have a puppy room, can you please raise your cards now? Good test, good test. Okay, thank you. Anyone who doesn't want to have a puppy room, raise your cards now. Thank you. And anyone who wanted to abstain from that vote? Lovely. Okay, lovely. So we all understand what's going on. Okay, so we have a procedural motion. So you have to bear with me. We're going to pull up the example first for a minute. Okay, I'm going to pass it over to Gavin quickly. Can I invite Jeremiah to the stage? Jeremiah, if you come up to the stage, please.
Can I have a show of hands, please? People interested in hearing the case to overturn the church decision regarding Jeremiah's report on pressure at recruitment and pressure at behaviour. Can we have a show of hands, please? With the cards. Could we have a show of hands to see? Yeah, can we have instructions from DVD?
Hello everyone. So we've had a procedural motion before us, which is in your agenda, and it's something that you can do if you've got a problem with how the meeting's been run and want to change something. So the procedural motion we've had for us is procedural motion 7, which is a request to overrule the chair's ruling regarding whether Jeremiah's policies were both rolled into one, whether it was single. Now we need you to decide whether you want to hear this procedural motion, so you need to put up your hands and vote for or against whether you want to have this discussed.
Everyone got that yet? So can we have a show of hands, please, using your cards? Hands straight up into the air if you're interested in hearing the procedural motion. Anyone against hearing the procedural motion? The motion has fallen.
Oh, that was juicy, wasn't it? That was juicy. I would have expected that. Okay, we're going to get back on track. Back onto the big idea. So everyone's happy with the process and what we're going to do, yeah? Everyone's happy. Lovely. So the first big idea that we have is currently any student can vote for any position during student elections, including such positions as DME officer, mature students officer, etc., etc. Even if they do not identify as being with these minority groups. I propose that in the very least, a disclaimer should appear on the online election form when you are about to vote for a minority group position, reminding people that they should be aware of the issue above. Is there anybody that wants to speak for this proposal? I see that over there. You can come to the stage and you have 2 minutes to talk on your to speak on behalf of this proposal. And can I just ask that you say your name for the minutes of the meeting? Thank you.
Hello, my name is Tom. I'm a second year student and a bisexual officer in NTSU Pride Society. My big idea actually. Yeah, at the moment I see that there's the way that the elections work. It's unfair to the minority groups such as mature students, etc. Because currently, the way votes are counted, everybody's votes count exactly the same. So I don't know the exact number of disabled students in the uni. Let's assume they're a minority, that's for sure. As soon as about 5% of the entire student population, and let's assume that all of the students in the uni vote during the elections, which they don't. So say 95% of the student body who aren't disabled, aren't involved in the disabled community, have limited knowledge of. I'm sure some of those people, friends who are disabled, might have quite knowledgeable. But basically, when you vote and you're not a member of that group, you're going to take away the power that 5% has. Those people are supposed to be represented by people they put forward. And if the voting system itself is not representative, then the best candidate will not win out in the elections. So that's why I propose that people should be educated about voting responsibly. In very essentially disclaimer. So yeah.
Thank you, Tom. Is there anyone who wants to speak against this big idea? Matthew, if you want to come to the stage, you have 2 minutes. DPD-DPD my timer, please. Thank you.
Hi guys, I'm Matt, Beak Education. I myself identify as an LGBT student, so I just think like in this week, in the campaign week, it's your week to go out and speak to as many students as you want and to make them aware of what's affecting you and actually to educate them on all the problems or any issues or matters that are affecting you guys and to make them more aware. And I just feel if you took that away from them and you didn't go speak to them, you're just going to, or in a way, isolate yourself because they're not going to be aware of what is actually affecting you. And this is your chance to actually go out there and educate as many people as you want into what's going on in your life and going on in your group. So that's just kind of my main stance on it, because you could actually educate so many people in those 2 weeks that you're not going to gauge because you won't. Because you're not going to approach them maybe because you don't feel they're LGBT, etc., etc. That's just my kind of view on it. So, cheers, guys.
Thank you, Matthew. Okay, we've heard the first round for and the first round against. Is there anyone else that wants to speak on behalf of this proposal, speak for this proposal? Okay, Tom, you want to come back to the stage? In the second round, you just have 1 minute. Okay.
To counter Matthew's comment, the big idea is not to ban people within those groups from ban people who are not within those groups from voting. It's simply to educate people that perhaps you're not educated enough to vote. I think during the campaign, you're right, people should go out and campaign and raise awareness of issues pertaining to their groups. But you can't reach everybody during that campaign. And I remember last year when Gavin was running for LGBT student officer, there was a great deal of worry within the Pride Society that the vote was going to go to the other candidate, which wasn't the case in the end, due to it being a bit of a popularity contest, because you can't reach 100% of your audience. Gavin was only one guy. I remember he was standing outside John Clare and all the campuses handing out leaflets promoting yourself the best. But if you're going to educate so many people, and it was very clear that Gavin was known to the LGBT community here in Trent compared to the other candidate. So it's just, it's not taken away from the process. 10 seconds. Well, on now, never mind.
Sorry, Tom. Thank you. Is there anybody that wants to speak against this proposal in the second round of? Okay. Tom, are you the proposer of this? What? Can I ask for a clarification on whether this big idea is for just a disclaimer on the voting, or is it for something further or more well-rounded, or is it just this disclaimer?
Cheers. Originally, revise this opinion now after like debating with people. Originally, it was we were considering going for a ban on, restricting people to maybe unable to vote unless they were a church student, etc., etc. But now we've just changed that just to have a disclaimer on the online voting forms and educate people about voting responsibly. That's all we want to push for now. We don't want to restrict people's vote. It's hard enough getting students to vote without putting them off any further. Just give the power back to those minorities so they can elect who is the best person for the job. Thank you, Tom.
Okay, can I ask for a speech against in the second round? You kind of need a speech against. I see that number right there. You have 1 minute, and please state your name for the minutes.
I do think in theory having a disclaimer would be a really good idea. I don't necessarily think it needs to be put in policy, because if for whatever reason it creates a barrier for people to vote, I think it should go ahead. I think there are already enough barriers to vote in terms of having to type in all your details if you haven't already registered on the online system. You need to register. If you can't remember what your N number is, if you've got to go back and find your N number again. I think it's complicated a little bit, and maybe we should turn this down as policy, but accept it as an idea to unions, officers to maybe implement if it can be doable. If that makes sense, rather than actually committing to putting this in place.
Thank you, buddy. Is there anybody else that wants to speak for this proposal? See that number there? You have 1 minute, and please state your name for the minutes.
Basically what we're saying is we're aware that it's quite a controversial thing to suggest that you don't vote for something, but when I don't know if any of you guys are first, so you might not have gone through the process yet, but picture yourself on the page, you're going through your voting. Once you've got past the barriers of like N numbers and stuff, you're on that page where you just pick who you vote and then just go through it, so it's easy to do it once you're there. So if you kind of see minority position, you might just go, oh, that's manifesto, right, okay, I don't really know much about it, but I'll just click on them because it's there and I can vote. So the idea is to kind of suggest that people don't vote unless they're really involved. So I think logistically, once you get to the position where you can vote, when you go through the list, it doesn't really make a difference to whether people actually can vote or not, which is kind of sway you towards only voting what actually affects you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who wants to speak against this proposal? I see that over there. You have 1 minute. Please state your name for the minutes.
Hi, my name is Tom Shepherd. I essentially think this is a bad idea I'm slightly offended by it on an intellectual level. So you're not educated enough as a human. Sorry, you're not educated enough to vote. For example, if I want to vote for Gavin, because I don't identify as a certain role, that I should be able to vote for him. It's the same principle as saying I can vote for Paddy, for example, because you don't play for a sports club. You shouldn't be allowed to vote. You shouldn't be disclaiming saying only vote for sports you pay if you're a sports team. So I think this is if we're going to go that intricate on every level, then you shouldn't vote for this person. You should go out and have pressure to all. I'm just slightly offended by the whole concept of it, really, because I don't identify a certain way. I shouldn't be allowed to. I'm in some way implied that I'm not educated. So that's what I would say.
Thank you. We're now going to go to a vote. So what I'm going to ask is everybody needs to be very, very clear with their. Okay, yeah, one more round. That's one. Sorry guys, it is a pressing issue for many students at Nottingham Trent, so then this is your opportunity to hear both sides of the story. So be engaging.
Yeah, I'm sorry that you find it offensive intellectually. It's not, reiterated, it's not it's not just an LGBT issue, it's an issue for BME, for all minorities. Lost my train of thought there a little bit. It's not, when you're choosing between two candidates, I don't want to insult you intellectually. When you're choosing between two candidates, if you're, some people who don't identify as LGBT or BME might be very involved in those communities, might connect to in all sorts of ways. And this is merely a disclaimer, it's not stopping people from voting. You can still vote if you know that your vote is going to be well placed. This is kind of to deter the masses of people who may just vote fleetingly. Coming from
That's time, Tom.
sorry. Yeah.
Have we got anyone for one round of against? Jeremiah, you have 1 minute. Please state your name for the minutes.
Hello. If someone's gone to the trouble of putting in their N number and going through the process, by putting a disclaimer there, it's just going to be a yes or no answer. So it's just one click, so it's not really going to deter or make people think any differently. If they're already going to vote for someone, then they're going to vote whether or not the disclaimer's there. You get what I mean? That's all.
Thank you, Jeremiah. We are now going to go to a vote. So what I'd ask is if you want to vote in for this proposal, which is to add the disclaimer to the voting system for individual or certain votes, then please raise your card now and keep it very high until I ask you to put it down.
Thank you. All those against, please raise them nice and high, 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 and keep them up there. Thank you. And all those who are abstaining, please raise them nice and high. Thank you. That motion falls. What I would like to ask is that for those who still have this as an issue, to come and see the exec, and maybe there could be something else to work on. Okay. We now move on to the second big idea, and it is as such. For those few students who were willing to justify an expense of £83 on a nightclub entry, the annual pass was extremely useful for not having to worry about getting tickets from the sports teams books each and every week. I will propose that the Students' Union were to bring back the annual pass, even if in fewer quantities. Just to clarify, this is about ocean books. Have we got a speaker for? I see that number there. Come on up. You have 2 minutes. Please state your name for the minutes. Thank you.
I submitted this big idea, my background, the previous years before this year. The Ocean Annual Pass was something you could buy at the start of the year as an alternative to getting a ticket from the books and forcing you to Ocean every week. It was £83 and got into 30 nights, basically, to book everything. The reason why it's been taken away this year, and the reason why I want to bring it back is because, for 2 reasons. Number one, for practicality. Some of the biggest ocean nights, like end of term and Christmas and things like that, sometimes they can be difficult to get tickets for. And if you bought an annual pass at the start of the year, you could just get it out of the way as soon as you started uni, you didn't have to worry about it. And the second reason why I wanted to bring it back is because Nottingham Trent is one of the best universities in the UK for student experience. And I believe that the culture of ocean devotion is a cornerstone of that. And taking away the annual pass is messing with the formula that works. And I think if we start to take away the annual pass, then we can go down a slippery slope. And ask, what could be taken away that's next? Before you know it, we'll be just like uni, or we'll be going on a Friday and we can be wearing a fancy dress. And that's not a future I want to live in. So please, look in your hearts and vote yes, bring back annual pass.
The power of the speak this again, thank you. Is there anyone who wants to speak against this motion? I see that member there. Please state your name for the minutes, and you have 2 minutes.
Hi, Dave back. You mentioned one of the sort of the definitions of Nottingham Trent University being one of the best universities in the country, and one of the things that we do very well as a university, as I think Patty's probably going to say, is sport. The Ocean tickets funds the sports clubs very, very heavily. We have social secretaries that work extremely hard selling these tickets. A lot of the time we can't sell them in the clubs, especially for the smaller clubs. And I think by introducing the annual pass, it will make it a lot harder for these social secretaries to sell these tickets externally to non-club members, and would just add a bit of limitations within the sports clubs, and not the sports clubs but the societies alike that do have these ocean tickets to sell. It would just make their life a lot harder, reduce the funding that sports clubs and societies can get, and that's about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
hand over to the DPD desk for a point of clarification.
Guys, just a quick point of clarification. Last year, a lot of you were here to vote on the reallocation of ocean tickets, taking them away from the box office here, away from on the door, away from on the bar, so that there were more books available for clubs. If this motion does go through, it's going to overrule that and clubs may lose some of the books.
Thank you. Everybody got that? Do I see another speaker for this proposal? I see that member there. Please state your name for the minutes, and you have 1 minute.
Hi guys, Joe South-Alexander. I know funding for Sports Club is imperative, but there's one thing that we need to consider as well. We can actually ask university for funding rather than putting pressure on our sports clubs to go out and sell these tickets every night, or every Wednesday night. We see how much of an impact it has at Union Meeting, how much debate we have over ocean tickets. What about if we bring back some annual passes, make it easier and cheaper for our members, and actually lobby the university for more funding for sports clubs, rather than sports teams having to go out on a Wednesday night and rely on their passports and ticket sales. Just a point. Like someone said, it is cheaper, it is easier for students to have these annual passes. It means a lot to some people. A lot of people didn't end up using them a lot of the time, but they still felt valued that they're a part of something for the whole year, so it's really good. So bring back the annual passes, please.
Thank you. That's for one more speaker against. I see that member there. Please state your name for the minutes, and you have 1 minute.
Hello, it's Tom Walsh. Basically, I don't think we should do it because as a union we can't actually try and encourage binge drinking. If you've got an annual pass, it kind of puts pressure on you to go every week. I don't think it's affordable to students, and it's just going to encourage more binge drinking, which the union shouldn't promote. Thanks.
Thank you. Do I see one more speaker for? See that member there. 1 minute, please say your name for the minutes.
Hi, Libby Barry-Williams. The reason for this, last year I think they only sold about 40 tickets, about 2 books, and the effect it's actually going to have on you is nothing on your school. I don't think really anything can be affected. I agree with you to be lobbying the university. I think that's enough money. In fact, putting pressure on the sports teams to provide money and funding from their tickets. If you guys propose a binge drinking, not just the annual card, it's putting pressure on you to constantly sell these tickets. So if anything, that's what's encouraging binge drinking. So fun.
Thank you. One more person to speak against. See that over there. 1 minute, please state your name for the minutes.
Paddy Atkinson. Yeah, so last year there were just over 40 sold. So the number on 28,000 students, that's only impacted 40 students. So that's a big idea. Is it really that big an idea? It will take away, yeah, it will take away 2 books or 3 books away from sports clubs. But as I said, in particular weeks, every single book is gone. So every single last book is essential. And on the point of selling tickets, is a really good point. And I think it's important to empower students themselves into funding the clubs themselves. Whereas just going over like our university, can you give us some more money, please? In future years to come, there's going to be less of an ownership over the clubs, over their committees, over their own funding, and if you raise it yourself, it means a lot more in value. Thanks.
Thank you. Unless there's one more speaker for, I'm going to go to a vote. Lovely, okay. So
for all of those in favour of the student union working towards bringing back the annual pass, please raise your green cards now. Nice and high, and please keep them up until I say drop. Drop. All those against, please raise nice and high. Thank you, now you can drop it. All those who abstain, please raise nice and high. That motion falls. And that is the last big idea. Two big ideas to fall. Just bear with me, my laptop died, so I haven't got my notes. Do we have any other business? We don't have any formal notes about any other business. We have one thing. So the any other business is, can we have an update on the position with NUS? In truth, the position with NUS has actually improved this year. For those who don't know, NUS is the National Union of Students, so effectively the national one of us. As a student union, they have elected officers and all the rest of it. Our position has actually improved, both in terms of the finances and the trading activity that we do. We are one of NUS Services Limited, which is basically the supplier of all the trading activity. Our position has improved with them year on year. And in the democracy side of things, we've actually improved also. We've had 2 visits from the officers. So the president of NUS has come to visit us in recent weeks, as well as the vice president is going to be coming to visit us in after term, as well as having some of our staff members actually working on behalf of NUS as kind of a consultancy basis. Basically, we have knowledge that other unions really want, and we're supplying that. So NUS really loves it at the moment. We're like an NUS, and that is hopefully a sufficient answer to that question. Anyone got any problems with that question? What I just said? No? Lovely. Cool. Any other business? No, click that. Let's go. Does anybody have anything that they want to address to the membership? So anything that we haven't covered either here tonight, anything that wasn't covered in any officer reports, anything that you want to, you feel like the membership should hear today and be limited? That wasn't a hand, that was going on right there. Nobody has any notices or statements. Okay, I really want to say thank you for your time tonight. You guys have been awesome. Like really engaged. You've been really good, so thank you for sticking with it. The next meeting is going to be on the 23rd of February, back in this room. So please spread the word. If you thought it was a useful process, where you did get to hear what the exec officers have done, what you've elected them in for, if you're happy or not, please try and get people down here. It makes it for a better meeting because we get to hear what you guys think. That makes us better at our job. So I want to thank you all for being here and officially close this union meeting.